Well, let's start the meeting and she can join us, okay? It's called the Tremont Planning Board, or the continuance of the Tremont Planning Board meeting of Tuesday, April 13th, to order at 6:31. I'll call your names and please signify that you're here. Jeff Young.
Present.
Ed Witham.
Here, present.
Lawson Wilson.
Here.
And myself, Mark Good. Marjorie, you're not around? Okay, I guess not. Okay. Next, let's look minutes from our last meeting. Anybody see any issues with them?
I'll move that be approved.
Okay, you say the minutes, say the date, March 23rd, please.
For the March 23rd meeting.
Okay, I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, motion is second on the table to approve the minutes of March 23rd. All in favor? Jeff?
Aye.
Brett?
Aye.
Lawson?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Okay. So the next thing on the agenda is old business, and this is in regards to Katie Wilderness Lodge and about the technical review fee. Jesse, you want to explain this quickly? What's going on?
Yep. So the board made the motion to get a peer review done on the stormwater and the traffic. So I contacted Haley Ward, which was formerly CES, about the peer review, as well as Andrew McCullough out of Ellsworth, and they both submitted back estimates. Haley Ward's estimate for the project was $3,000 and Andrews was $4,500 to $5,000. I spoke with Greg to let the applicant know that it was going to be around that cost, as the applicant is responsible for paying that technical review fee if you choose to ask for more than the $500 they had already deposited. And Greg indicated after speaking with the applicant that that was fine. And so we went ahead and gave the engineer the go-ahead for the project, because the deadline is by end of day tomorrow. And so we just need an official motion from the board for that increase of $2,500 additional dollars in the technical review fee.
And we expect them to have the report tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll take a motion to request the additional $2,500 from the applicant to cover the cost of the peer review for the Katie Wilderness Lodge campground application.
I'll make a motion to request an additional $2,500 from the applicant to cover the cost of peer review the Katie Wilderness Lodge campground application.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion is second on the table to approve the additional $2,500. Any discussion?
Which one did we take, the less expensive one?
Yes, the Haley Ward CES. Yep.
It
Are we
used to be
obligated to do that?
Pardon?
Are we obligated to take the lower cost?
You're not obligated to. No.
So
And do you know anything about Haley Ward? You mentioned in your memo that it's formerly with CES, but
Yep. They do. I mean, CS and Haley Ward have done a bunch of engineering projects, various things for, I think, all the towns on the island. I know they have for Tremont and South.
they have, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trust CES.
And who was the other? Oh, and sorry, so is Haley Ward a person or a firm?
Firm. CES changed their name.
Oh, thank you.
oh, okay.
Yes.
That was not
Yes, sorry.
clear originally. Okay. So it's still the same. Well, I don't know. They got bought by somebody or something.
I think they're
No,
a
I think
family
they-
owned now.
I think they acquired Haley Ward, or a company that used to be called Haley Ward, and they chose to change their name.
Okay.
Older of the two, I believe.
I see.
Okay, that's where I was worried about credentials and what each of them done, but now you go back and say, I am familiar with CES, so I
Yep.
feel more comfortable with the route we're going.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any more discussion?
If it's appropriate, I would just, I mean, Greg, I'm not sure, Greg, if you have anything to say about that, but if you wanted to comment, about that, I would be curious if that's okay with the chair.
I would only say that I appreciate that Jesse was steadfast in getting there, and we certainly appreciate taking the lesser of the budget in approval. And that's all I have on that matter.
Thanks, Greg.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. I'll call for a vote. All in favor, Jeff,
Yes,
Brett,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes.
myself, yes. Okay, 4-0. Okay. Moving right along. We have no CEO issues, right?
Nope.
And old business, we did, other. Anybody have any other?
our next meeting is the public hearing.
Yeah.
And that will be only item on the agenda?
No, the agenda is going to have more items on it due to applications coming in that met the deadline for the April 27th agenda.
We had talked at some point, I thought, about maybe doing the April 27th meeting in person.
It's the board had chosen to do it by Zoom
By Zoom.
due to the number of people we expect wanting to attend.
And do we want to talk now about how to sort of organize or structure a public hearing via Zoom? And is there a way that people can raise their hands and indicate that they want to speak? And
People can raise their hands to indicate that they want to speak. I've been thinking about how we could handle going through, making sure, because it could get, you could still miss somebody. I thought about going through.
I don't think we can raise our hand, assuming we're using the same meeting
You
setup.
can't
that we're
raise it?
using. No,
Okay.
I
Okay.
can like clap, but that's different. It just has a
Okay.
little bit of a different functionality than
Yep.
hand raising. Oh, that's not true. Here we go. I just raised my hand. That popped me to the top. I'm sorry. It's right there. Now I can lower
Yeah.
my
So
hand.
does it bring you to the top of the, yeah.
It should, yeah. So if my hand's raised,
And do you have to take it off yourself after you've,
I can, but I think you can too. Are you the host, Jesse?
yes, I can, lower
Yeah.
hand. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So that's probably the best is if everybody raises their hand and then I can uncheck them as they go. And if they feel they need to say something else, they can do it again. Mark
And are you-
talked.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead. Well, I was just gonna be curious if you or Mark are gonna moderate.
Jesse will be the
Probably
moderator.
I will, yeah, I'll moderate it. As far as telling people who's next.
And one of my concerns is this could last a long time. If you look at the MMA planning board manual, we're really obligated to allow everybody to have their say. Although I hope those people who hear their same concerns being expressed over and over again, maybe realize that we've heard those concerns and maybe they don't really need to weigh in. So we'll find out, but this could go on for hours and maybe we might even have to continue it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think you're going to get a lot of repeats. I mean, based on the letters I've seen, it's pretty clear that somebody put out some forums and people just sort of adopted them. This
Yep.
looks like there's two or three or four versions of sort of templates. So yeah, I mean, I think that yes, it could be a long meeting, and I think we might be continuing it. You know, we'll see. I think there'll be some legal questions that will come out of it too, frankly, but we'll see.
Right.
Jesse, what do you think about in order of recognizing people who speak, that we let the professionals in the audience go first and then go to the general public?
I think that's what you've done in the past. But it's up to, I believe it's up to the board to make that decision at the beginning of the meeting.
So I'll just
There
comment
is a
to the commenter.
suggested, oh,
I'm just
sorry.
going to comment to the commenter. We don't need to respond to your comments. You know, we decided we're going to do the meeting this way for safety reasons. Actually, it's interesting that you're saying you can't, it's not an adequate voice, and I'm responding to it right now, so it can be, and we will give everyone a fair shake at that public hearing, and if we have to extend it to do that, that's what we'll do.
I was going to say there is a sequence, a recommended sequence of presentations in the MMA manual. I don't think we need to necessarily follow that exactly, but I think giving, the applicant and the professionals to a chance to respond first might be a wise idea, like Jeff suggested. And we also have some other applications coming for us at that meeting for completeness, correct? And
Yes, yep. And they have both applicants are aware that have a large public hearing on the agenda, and that there's a good chance that their completeness reviews will get tabled to the next planning board meeting.
right, okay.
Do
And
we have
our
the
next,
discretion to do that?
Hmm?
Do we have the discretion to table it? The ones that are now on our agenda. I thought we weren't going to put anything else on the agenda when we spoke last time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's up to the chair if he wants to simply leave them off and put them on the following one. It's up to the chair to set the agenda.
And then we could also adjust the agenda during the meeting.
Mhm.
If
Yep.
I mean, if there's a motion in a second and everybody approves.
They had made the deadline for the 27th meeting, and the 27th public hearing, of course, was contingent on the peer review coming in by end of day tomorrow, Greg returning it by end of day on the 20th, his comments. So if either of those deadlines weren't met, then you wouldn't hold a public hearing the 27th, and therefore would have time to review these two for completeness.
seems to me it might be best to leave it on the agenda, them on the agenda, and table them at the meeting, depending on what happens.
Yeah, I think you would, continue the meeting to the next date.
Right.
Are we
And our
gonna
next
have a, Mark, are
meeting
we
is
gonna
Sep-
have a cutoff time?
of the public hearing,
Yeah. I mean, it could go on and on.
well, I know there, at some point, we're gonna have to stop it, and what, if, Marjorie, are you asking, are we gonna have a time certain to end it?
Yes.
What does the board think?
Jeff usually gives us 8 o'clock.
Jeff has gone to 8:30, come on.
I think it's 8:30 for Jeff. That's
Yes.
My concentration dips down badly then. I think a cutoff time would be to adjourn, not necessarily cut off public comment. I don't think we can cut off public comment, but we could say we're going to put this over to another meeting to pick up those who did not have an opportunity to speak at the first meeting.
Right, that's what I thought you meant.
I wasn't sure if that's what Marjorie was asking.
So we
Yeah.
okay with leaving those on the agenda for now?
I think it makes sense to leave them on the agenda, given that it's actually possible that we will, for any number of reasons, end up needing to postpone the public hearing. And if it all ends up happening on the same day, then we can just make that decision the day of. About
Are we
how-
starting a little early? I can't remember.
We are.
Yes.
It looks like it's scheduled for 5 o'clock that
5
day.
o'clock.
Yep.
And Jesse, you've made the other applicants aware that this could happen. They might be
Yeah.
tabled to a later meeting, okay?
Yes. Yep.
And the other thing is our next scheduled meeting after that is what, September?
All right. Hey, thanks.
Yeah, that-
Yay!
May 27th, is it, Jesse? I can't remember what you said.
It's May 25th.
Okay.
You normally would also have one May 11th, and you didn't schedule it at the time because we were unsure of town meeting. Town meeting is now the prior week, so you could schedule your next one for May 11th.
Okay, and so we can do that at the public hearing. After the public hearing, if we want to continue it, we can schedule the meeting for the 11th.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody fine with that? I don't think we need a vote.
Yeah.
Anything else? Otherwise, we'll set the date for the next meeting.
I guess I just want to acknowledge that there are people sort of making comments in the chat, and I don't think we should address these now. We should also probably make a note during the public hearing that the chat is not a tool for having your voice heard, and that basically that's because I think that we want to make sure that we're having one conversation at a time, and we're listening to one person at a time, and so we'll be using the raise hand, and people will be speaking, and that's what we'll be listening. Much the way, because essentially the chat is sort of like people, like, I don't know, like raising up signs in the back of the room during a public hearing, and I don't think we would welcome
Jesse,
that either.
Can you disable the chat function?
It's possible when I set up the meeting. I can look.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
If you disable the chat function, will the person know the chat function's been disabled?
Yeah, and my request actually would, or my advice would actually be, instead of disabling it, make it so that that participants can just chat with the host.
Yeah.
So that if there are technical issues, I think we want them to be able to say, "Hey, Jesse, like, we can't hear somebody because Lawson's camera is broken or something." But that's not a way to. The planning board won't be looking at the chat, and we won't be following the chat. We'll be listening to whoever's speaking.
Yep.
One at a time.
Yep.
Is it illegal even to null and void the chat?
No, it's not.
No? How come?
Because they have, it's about the ability to participate. If people can participate, verbally and speak, then that's the mode we've decided, then that's the way we're going to do it. And you can't have two conversations going at the same time. So I think we can absolutely disable the chat so long as people can speak and we can hear them and they can participate verbally.
Exactly.
And as long as they know that it's been disabled, so they not assume they're being heard.
Mhm.
That's my only
Fair enough.
concern.
Fair enough.
A lot of people have a block, it seems, with Zoom. I've spoken to a couple of people lately that I've never done this. How do I do this? You have to buy a computer. Oh, So that is an obstacle with a lot of our citizens.
Right, but what can we do? These are strange times we live in. It'd be nice if we could do it all in person, but we can't. So we can't accommodate this sort of crowd. Anything else, anybody? Okay, I'll take a motion to schedule our next meeting for April 27th, 5 o'clock, the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second on the table to schedule our next meeting for 5 o'clock, April 27th, a public hearing on the Acadia Wilderness Lodge Campground. All in favor, Lawson,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
myself, yes. And
Yes,
So you want Marjorie to vote?
Marjorie, you might as well recuse yourself. It's the campground, so
okay.
if you quit buying property around potential campgrounds, you can once again participate in meetings. So anyway, okay, if there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do hear a
I
second?
second that then. I can do that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, Lawson,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Marjorie,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
myself, yes. Thanks, folks. Enjoyed a nice hike in the woods with you all tonight.
Make sure you check yourself for ticks.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks.
Night.
Good night.